I want to copy a quiz to make it really easy to kind of step through this process. I have that ordered question, which always slows me down. So I don't want that question in here. So I want an even quick quiz. So let's go copy. And I want to copy my auto-graded. I'm going to make it quick quiz. I'm going to make it an active quiz, and I'm going to say, okay, so now I have quick quiz, but I want to delete some of those questions. Layout questions, add edit. In here, let's leave the matching out. Let's just do multiple choice and true false. I don't see a save button there. Okay, let's go back to quiz layout. We have 3 questions now. Are we ready to go? Let's go see what the student sees. Again, refresh. Bingo, there we have it. So copying that question maintained the 3 attempts. Here we go. Let's go to submissions. What's for the student, I'm not seeing a score. That's my first hint something's wrong. When I go to attempt, I'm not seeing any details. So we'll come back here in just a minute. Back to the instructor view. What could be wrong? Oh, so many tabs, so little time. Properties. Oh, I'm betting this is my culprit. One thing, allow attempt to be set as graded immediately upon completion. That should have been checked. But is that enough? Let's take it one step at a time. So again, we'll go back to the student view. Go back into the quiz. Let's go to submissions. I'm not seeing the score. What happens when I go here? I'm still not seeing this. Go back to being instructor. I bet I have to grade this quiz. Sure enough, now I'm seeing, well, we didn't do very well. I see no grade here. So let me try and update. Okay, now we have an overall grade. We didn't do well as a student on that quiz. All right, let's go see what changed for the student. We go back to quizzes, quick view, submissions. Now I'm seeing a score. So that's good. So I had to mark grade this, but because that, let's talk about this. When we mark this, any new quizzes that other students take will automatically be graded. But for anything that had already been submitted, we had to go to grade and manually have it grade the submitted quizzes. Okay. We still have another problem. Let's go back to being a student. When we go to attempt 1, we're still not seeing the answers. What kind of feedback do we want to give students? Again, we go back to the instructor view. This is a submission view. And And we have a default view here, and we can edit this default view. We want to show the questions. Let's just take it that far and save the view. As a student, now we've just said in the submission view, the instructor says show the questions. And here you see what I marked. And you also see that I did not get points for these. Got 0 points. We're coming back there in just a minute. Let's see what else we might turn on. So we might tell students we'll show them the actual answers. We can also say we'll show the class average and the score distribution, which, because there's only one submission, we won't see much. But we'll save that view, go back to being a student. The reason I keep coming back out and now clicking on attempt 1 is that's like refreshing the page. All right, so here we have in the legend, it's showing us what the responses are. So question 1, my response was a television game show, but the best answer is indicated with an arrow, right? So there we go. At the bottom, we're seeing my attempt score and my highest overall grade. So I could take it again. Start quiz. Now, this is a new submission. So it should auto grade immediately. Submit the quiz. Submit the quiz. Now it took me directly to the submission view. And I see the answers. All right, so let's go back to submissions. You see that I have attempt 1 and attempt 2. And this is the view of the statistics and the distribution. When you have a default view, you can edit it or add a new view. In this case, because it was a practice quiz, I let them have immediate feedback. Let's go to the quiz list and let's go look to instructor quiz, the instructor graded information. I could leave automatic grade, but this is instructor graded, so that won't work. All right, and again, this is practice. So now we go to submission view, and here we have reminding students that this quiz is in 2 parts, that students will need to be patient in order to see this. But again, I will turn on yes. You can only delete the views you've added. You cannot delete the default view. All right, quiz list. So what was important the first time around was that I did not turn on auto graded. So let's go back to this quiz because we've practiced now and we realize automatic grading needs to be turned on. So you want that to happen. We'll save the quiz. So what did we learn? Do we want to change to have a different submission view? I have a theory about this, and you have to think about it in your own class situation. First off, if a quiz or could be a homework kind of activity is set up initially, you will have a window of time, a window when this quiz opens and a window when this quiz closes. So the grading will happen automatically, but maybe you don't allow students to see their answers until the quiz has closed, so that they're not able to call their friends and say, oh, the answer to question 7 is that kind of thing. You have to always imagine that any online quiz is open book, open note, and somebody's on the phone helping them out. So always think of it in that way. Another strategy might be to create random order quizzes. So that'll be the next part. We're looking at this as a student, right? And we're really happy with the way Quick Quiz is set up. It's auto grading, it's showing the questions and the feedback, and it's showing the distribution and that kind of thing. So when I get to the instructor quiz view, I'm just going to copy Quick Quiz because it has all of the things I want in it. Right? So let's go to copy and Quick Quiz, and we're going to say random. So everything about it works, except I want to create a random quiz. So let me go ahead and edit the quiz after I create it. But once I've got a quiz kind of working the way I want it, I could just replace those questions. I might be onto something there. Now, all of this part is right. All I need to change now are the questions. So here I have static questions. All students get this in the order they're listed. So I want to clean this out, and I want to have a random order of questions. So I only have 3. I'm going to do 2 questions here. All right, so I want to get rid of what's here, right? I still have that in my original quiz, so I'll delete this. Now we're about to make a random section, which will look like a folder. So we're going to say random section, create a new one. I can be very detailed in how I name this part. I need to go inside this random folder in order to define the question. So now I'm going to click import. Where do I want to get that from? I'll say practice quiz, and I want these first 3. Click the save button. And questions per attempt, I have 3 questions. Ideally, you're going to have 10 questions or 50 questions, and you'll choose a subsection of those. You could have a random quiz of 50 in the pool and 50 questions. That means the deck would continually be shuffled for everybody. But I'm just going to choose 2 out of my 3 questions in this list. And let's go back and see what it shows me. All right, I've got those 3 questions. I'm picking 2. I'm just confirming that everything is working the way I want. Let's go back out to quizzes. You know what? First off, we see that it is inactive. So I'm going to use the quick way to activate it. So I've clicked the checkbox, double pencil, make it active, click save. Going back, I want to preview the quiz. So the instructor can preview what students will see. And I get the true, false, and the 3-answer question in my preview. All right, let's go take this quiz as a student. So again, it's going to have 3 attempts. Here I am as a student. I'll refresh the list. As a student, I now have refreshed the page, and I can access this quiz. These questions are presented in a flipped order from the preview of the instructor. I can save all responses. That's a good thing to recommend to your students. Submit the quiz. Now, when I look at this, there are a couple of things wrong. A couple of things I need to investigate. A couple of settings, probably in the question setup, that don't make sense. For instance, question 2, why, if that's the right answer, am I not getting 1 point of credit? So I'm going to have to fix that as the instructor. Up here, question 1 with 3 answers, I get 2 out of the 3 right, but I got 0 points. So let's go fix that. Let's go see. A little CSI in our quiz arena here. So we'll go into our quiz. I'm predicting it's actually in the questions themselves. So we have to edit the questions. Diving deeper, it is my true-false question. First, let's go see. All right. False is the right answer, but it only gets 1. If it's to be the right answer, it needs to be 100. That is the true answer. The true answer, the correct answer, gets 100% correct. All right, so that one is kind of easy. Now, this is good. This is good. Don't be alarmed. This question exists in several places. Let's correct it in every place it's used. So in the question library, in the auto-graded, and in the quiz, quick quiz. All right, let's hit the save button. So that should now be corrected in all of those places. The other one that was squirrely was the multiple select question. So let's click the pencil to edit it and look and see what our options are. So grading, all or nothing, right minus, wrong, or correct answers. Maybe I want to change this to be if somebody got a couple of them correct, that should be in their favor. So again, while we're here, we're going to check that the correct answers are marked. The incorrect answers are not marked. All right, we can look at a preview of this question and go back. I want to point out one other thing while we're here is you can actually randomize the list of options people choose from. So that is an additional random factor. So we'll be brave. We'll turn that on right now. And let's click Save. Again, we want to indicate wherever this question is used, we want to update it with our current choices. Click the Save button. Let's go be a student again. We can take this quiz one more time. It's a TV. Oh, this is interesting. This is the different question. This is not checkbox. It's radio buttons, so you only get one choice here. So only one. This is a new question to us. And let's see how we did. 1 point and 1 point. Hooray! Let's go back to submissions. Now I'm seeing attempt 2, and there is the class statistics and the final grade. So I'm very happy that I went through this practice process with my student account and fine-tuned to find the right possible mix for quizzes for my students. So I'm now going to make quiz random inactive because it's really my reference. Reference for me. Those are the settings that really worked. Now when I go back, it's inactive. But you know what? It's still under current quizzes, so students will see this. Let's go double check. Oh, they don't see it. Because it's inactive, they don't see it on their list. Perfect. And I have a reference for the best kind of quiz setup, the right kind of submission view, and that the answers are automatically graded. I'm happy with my quiz. And now there's one more thing to look at, and that is the instructor graded quiz. But first we have to be a student to take that quiz. So here we go. I don't know, maybe bones was enough of an answer, but we'll leave it in the long form. Well, I should have thought about this before I sat down here at the keyboard, but let's see. I haven't a clue. I haven't watched Sesame Street in a while, but we're just trying to experiment here. Again, save. Again, a good policy is for students to save after each answer, or at the end of the quiz to say save all responses and then go to submit quiz. And remember, attempt 1 cannot be graded automatically, so there's nothing here. All right, we go back to quizzes home as a student. Let's go be an instructor and see what happens here. I need to refresh this page. And I see that I have one submission and nothing graded yet. The little icon with the yellow ruler and the green check mark is for grading. So click that. And you would see a list of all students. Let me look at attempt 1. And what I'm able to see, wow, 52 points. Okay. That will be the final score. I see a graded checkbox, and I see attempt comments, so I can leave personalized comments. And I am going to say 2. It does say auto-graded, but it really isn't. It's going to be me that grades this. And this one is the 50-point question. And there was certainly not enough information here. So let's be very terse in our grade. So notice that we can leave feedback. So that was default feedback for that question. That's kind of interesting. And the okay, so here I need to notice that in my answer key, I have a reminder that only I as the instructor can see, that the answer key is the gang leader, green, and there's a pushy pig involved. All right, so Big Bird is not the prince is not much of an answer. Your answer is not complete and needed more of your ideas or whatever you want to say. Let's say save. Oh, it's reminding me I have not given a final score, so I'm saying 2.5, 2.5. I am going to have to mark this graded. And now do I hit recalculate or do I hit auto grade? And it's been successfully done. Although it just took out all of my scores, so maybe recalculate was the better one. Recalculate. Didn't get that warning that time. And recalculate. Okay. And this time recalculate kept my score points. If more students had completed attempts, I would be able to use these arrows and go to the next attempt and the next attempt and the next attempt. But right now, we only have one demo student in our class. Again, I'll go to quizzes, refresh, and this is the part that's been graded. Notice there are icons here as well. So I have submissions and quiz reports. There will not be reports, but submissions are what we might look for. Notice on Attempt Now, I also have a comment icon. And I see what my grade is. And I can view feedback and feedback. And this feedback was written into the question before this was, as I developed the question, the feedback was written. So I don't see that as a student until I'm able to see my submission report. So I think it worked. Let's go look at the grade book and notice that, again, these are practice quizzes, so they are not showing up here. But in real quizzes, if you give them comments, students will be able to see the comments on their grade report as well. So that's kind of the way that happens. And we go back to being an instructor. And you see that's the way it works. So have fun with quizzes. There's lots you can do with them. They can be homework assignments, they can be quizzes, they can be exams, they can be practice quizzes. It's a lot of fun.